Quick heads up before we start, everything in this video is a massive spoiler for the ending of The Boys, including who lives, who dies, and how it all wraps up. If you haven't finished the final season, turn back now and come back once you're caught up. Still here? Let's get into it. So The Boys is officially over, and the series finale left a lot of people feeling cheated. Not because Homelander died, everyone knew that was coming, but because of how the show got there. For a series that spent 5 seasons building one of the greatest TV villains of all time, the finale fumbled some pretty basic logic in a way that's honestly hard to ignore. Fans are already comparing it to the Game of Thrones ending, which is the worst insult you can throw at a finale. So let's go through the biggest plot holes in The Boys finale, because once you start pulling on these threads, the whole thing kind of unravels. The biggest problem with The Boys finale is how weak Homelander suddenly became. This is the guy who, earlier in the same episode, grabbed an Elon Musk parody character and threw him into outer space like it was nothing. Homelander with V1 in his system was established as the single strongest Supe on the planet, basically a god. Then the final fight happens, and suddenly he's getting held down by Butcher's tentacles and moving like he just learned to fly 10 minutes ago. The same Homelander who could casually launch a man into orbit can't break free from a guy with cancer tentacles. The show needed Homelander to be beatable so the heroes could win, but they made him so beatable that it retroactively makes you question why anyone was ever scared of him. You can't show a character at full god mode in one scene and then have him struggle against street-level threats 20 minutes later. That's not tension, that's inconsistency. The whole plan to depower Homelander falls apart the second you think about it. The strategy was to give Kimiko the radiation blast that strips away Supe powers, sneak into the White House, and depower Homelander long enough for Butcher to kill him. But if Homelander was weak enough that Butcher and Ryan could physically pin him down during the fight, then why was the elaborate plan even necessary? If the heroes can hold him in place, they could have just had Kimiko blast him from the start. For a villain who was supposed to be unstoppable, the actual method of stopping him was almost embarrassingly simple. It makes the previous episodes of careful planning feel like filler. Then there's the V1 injection moment that went absolutely nowhere. A couple episodes before the finale, Homelander injects himself with V1, the original super formula, and unleashes a massive laser blast so powerful that even Soldier Boy had to take a step back. The setup was perfect. You've got Butcher telling everyone to run, Homelander upgraded to his strongest form ever, and he's in the woods where he should easily be able to hear and hunt down the people escaping. Every instinct as a viewer tells you someone is about to die. And then the next episode just opens with everyone having escaped, no consequences, straight to the next plot point. The show built this huge moment of dread and then completely ignored the payoff. If a newly upgraded Homelander with enhanced senses can't catch a group of normal humans running through a forest, what was the point of the upgrade at all? The Soldier Boy situation might be the most insulting part of the entire finale. Jensen Ackles' Soldier Boy was built up over 2 whole seasons as Homelander's biological father, a Supe powerful enough to go toe-to-toe with him, with a messed-up family dynamic the show kept teasing as a major payoff. And then, in the series finale, he's just not there at all. Homelander put him back in his cryo-freeze, and that's the last we hear of it. No final confrontation, no resolution to the father-son arc, nothing. He's just a guy in a glass box now, parked off screen so the show can use him in a future spin-off, and it drags Mother's Milk down with him, because MM spent the whole series obsessed with Soldier Boy for killing his family. That was his core motivation for 5 seasons. You'd think the finale would give them at least one final scene together, making peace or settling it for good. Nope, Soldier Boy is frozen, MM never gets his closure, and both arcs just end without the payoff they spent years building. Fans on the show's own forums are openly asking what the point of Soldier Boy's entire arc even was. That's a character assassination through neglect. The whole Supe virus buildup basically got thrown in the trash. For multiple seasons, the virus was treated like this massive game changer, the one weapon that could actually end the Supe problem for good. Butcher chasing it, the boys arguing over whether to use it, the moral weight of it. It was set up as central to how this whole thing ends. And then Kimiko gets the depowering blast and the show basically goes, yeah, we've got Kimiko now, screw the virus, let's just walk straight up to Homelander. All that buildup around the virus as the endgame weapon, and in the actual final confrontation, it's an afterthought. It only comes back at the very end when Butcher tries to use it solo, almost like the writers remembered it was still in the story. For a plot device that got that much screen time across multiple seasons, sidelining it the second a more convenient option showed up feels like a waste. And then there's the ending that makes the whole series feel pointless. After Homelander is dead, Butcher decides killing him wasn't enough and tries to wipe out every Supe on Earth with the virus anyway. Huey stops him by shooting him. The message is supposed to be that killing Homelander changed nothing, that Vought still exists, that the cycle continues. which is a fine theme on paper. But the show spent 5 seasons making you desperately want Homelander dead, and then the moment it happens, it immediately tells you it didn't matter. Vought is still standing, Stan Edgar walks right back into the CEO chair like nothing happened, and the entire war the boys fought accomplished basically nothing structural. You can do a downer ending, but this one undercuts the emotional satisfaction the audience waited 5 years for without giving them anything to hold on to in return. The Gen 5 characters getting abandoned is one of the most obvious drop threads in the whole finale. Think back to the Season 4 ending. 2 Gen 5 Supes, Sam Riordan and Kate Dunlap, were a huge deal. Sam is a straight-up powerhouse, so strong and near invulnerable that Kimiko hit him with everything she had, and he didn't even flinch. Kate has mind control through touch, and she walked Frenchie right out of Kimiko's life like it was nothing. And then in the final season, they basically vanish. The guy who no-sold Kimiko's punches just disappears when the final battle needs muscle. It's the same story with Marie Moreau, set up across 2 whole shows as a Supe with blood manipulation powerful enough to actually threaten Homelander. Fans expected her to matter in the final fight. Instead, the Gen V crossover characters get a couple of throwaway lines and basically nothing to do, some of their powers seemingly downgraded from their own show. After all the cross-promotion, the payoff was a cameo that could have been cut without changing anything. You don't spend years building potential Homelander killers just to have them sit out the one fight that needed them most. Now, to be fair, the finale isn't all bad. Anthony Starr's performance as a begging, depowered Homelander is genuinely chilling, and the crowbar kill is a perfect comic book reference longtime fans appreciated. And personally, I thought the Deep's ending was great and I wouldn't have changed a thing. Starlight flies him out to the ocean, gives him one last chance to take responsibility and break free from Homelander, and instead of growing, he just blames her for everything wrong in his life. So she drops him into the water, and the sea creatures he spent the whole series abusing finally get their revenge. It's grim, it's poetic, and it's the exact karmic ending a character like the Deep deserved. That one landed perfectly. The problem is a few good moments don't excuse broken logic everywhere else. You can have a meaningful message about power and fascism while still respecting your own rules about how strong your characters are and paying off the arcs you spent years building. Honestly, the root of almost every one of these problems comes down to one thing. The whole season feels rushed. There was way too much story crammed into too few episodes, and you can feel the show sprinting to wrap everything up. The fix would have been simple: stretch this final stretch of story across 2 seasons instead of 1, give the Homelander fight room to breathe, and actually pay off Soldier Boy, MM, and the Gen V characters. Another idea that would have hit way harder is letting Homelander actually win at the end of his show, fully take over, and then have the real final battle play out in Gen V, with Marie and the next generation finally bringing him down. That would have tied the whole shared universe together. The problem is Gen 5 got cancelled, so that door is closed, which might honestly be part of why this finale feels the way it does. A story this big needed more room than it got, and rushing it is exactly why so many of these plot holes exist. The frustrating thing is that The Boys was one of the smartest superhero shows ever made. It earned its reputation by being sharp, brutal, and willing to go places other shows wouldn't. So when the finale fumbles basic stuff like power consistency and character payoffs, it stings more than it would for a lesser show. A series this good deserved an ending that held together when you actually thought about it. Instead, we got a finale that looks great in the moment but falls apart the second you ask a single follow-up question. What did you think of The Boys finale? Did the plot holes ruin it for you, or did the themes carry it through? Drop your take in the comments and let me know which unanswered question bugged you the most. Subscribe if you're new. More breakdowns coming.